I'm going to do a first impression on Ranking of Kings. If you've heard about this anime but then you decided not to watch it, it's probably because you thought of this. This is going to be a typical underdog story. A boy who can't speak or hear obtains power out of nowhere one day and then he becomes a great king. Or you thought that this is going to be like a cartoon. I'm not interested in watching a cartoon with a protagonist who can't speak or hear. It's probably going to be him making a lot of friends, playing around, and then he becomes a king through the power of friendship. No, hold on. Ranking of Kings got none of those. I mean, when I say that the protagonist of Ranking of Kings stands back up whenever he hits a wall, I'm not talking about Naruto's will to never give up or the belief that I might just make it through if I keep trying. When I say the protagonist is weak, I'm not talking about him having some kind of an extraordinary power hidden in him that he's not aware of. And when I say that he has a great friend by his side, I'm not talking about some really talented guy sticking to the protagonist because he sees some kind of amazing potential in him. And when I say the plot is absolutely not cartoonish, I mean it. Anyway, I'm Venom from the Sim Squad, and today I'm going to take a try at convincing you that Ranking of Kings is totally worth your time. But before that, if you have never heard about Ranking of Kings, it is an anime that came out in fall 2021. It follows Bojji, the first prince of the kingdom of Boos, which is set in a world filled with magic, mythical beasts where the kings are ranked according to their strengths and capabilities. Now, our protagonist Bojji, he is deaf and dumb, because of which he fails to communicate with others. But still, he has a big dream, and that is that he wants to become the greatest king ever. But then he is looked down on because of his disabilities and he is considered unfit to be a king. And to top it off, he has a younger brother, the second prince Daida, and this guy has everything that one would expect of a king, like good swordsmanship, intelligence, and whatnot. That's a typical underdog anime summary for you. But then, what makes Ranking of Kings different? I would like to begin with the plot and the animation. Many of you think that Ranking of Kings has a childish or a cartoonish art, but trust me, that's not the vibe you get when you actually watch the anime. And you would understand this better if you have watched anime with totally different art styles like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Mob Psycho 100, Mononoke. Ranking of Kings has a fantasy world of its own. It has several mythical beasts, giants, a devil who grants wishes, a mirror that tells you who is the most beautiful. I'm kidding. But it has some dark elements, and then it also has some of the most heartwarming characters whose very existence lightens up your mood. And the art style of this anime incorporates all of these elements in it without losing out on the actual fun of the experience. Also, in a way, you could say that it helps us to view the plot in the perspective of a young boy like Bojji, and it draws us closer to the emotions that he feels. Now, let's not forget about the studio that worked on this anime, and that is Wit Studio, which is known for our all-time favorites like Attack on Titan, the Vinland Saga, the ongoing Spikes Family, and trust me, this studio did an amazing job with this anime as well. I love how the animation works around different and contrasting elements of this story, and it has got some really good fight scenes. Now the plot. As I said earlier, Ranking of Kings has a fantasy world of its own, and it uses a lot of fantasy elements to bring together the main plot. The base story of Ranking of Kings is very simple, but as you get into it, it's like a well-made cobweb connected by different characters with each of their stories and goals intersecting, making a very realistic and beautiful plot at the same time. Now, what makes a plot interesting aside from the fantasy is the characters. I'm someone who believes that if you have good characters in your story, then your plot is already 70% good. And I love how characters in Ranking of Kings are multidimensional. There are no characters who would be like, hey, I'm in the story only because the author thought there's no humor in the plot without me, or because we need to have that one cool popular guy in the anime. The characters in Ranking of Kings are in fact a mystery in themselves. They are not what they seem to you in the beginning. And one of the examples would be Bojji's stepmother. A mild spoiler here, but well, it works. In the first episode, she really comes out as an annoying, proud person who looks down on Bojji just like the others do. But by the third episode, you understand her character in depth. That she is actually someone who cares a lot about Bojji. And honestly, right now, I think that she might be just one of the best mothers in the whole of anime. Every character in this anime has a reason that drives them to take some very unexpected actions. And there are also some but we do not talk about them. What I can promise you is when you are watching this anime, you're sure to come up with a lot of crazy theories and explanations about some characters' behavior, but you'll only be proven wrong at the end. Overall, the writing of Ranking of Kings is really good. It maintains a fantasy world with a lot of complicated characters who react very humanly to different situations that they are put in. Also, it doesn't overdo the mystery. It keeps perfect balance in all the elements of the story. Now, I cannot really wind up this video without talking about the two major characters of Ranking of Kings, because they themselves are the reason why you should watch this anime. One of the best things in this anime is how many of the characters connect with each other. This anime has some really heartwarming relationships, like the bonding between Queen Hiling and Bojji, also between Queen Hiling and her son Daida, between the royalty and the characters who protect them. But the best of it all is between Kage and Bojji, and I'm going to talk about them. I'm not going to lie, when I started this anime, I really wondered how the author was going to make a plot out of a main character like Bojji. Saying that he is weak is an understatement. As far as I saw at that moment, nobody acknowledges Bojji. Forget acknowledgement. The people of the kingdom literally treat him as if he is some retarded kid. He cannot speak or hear. He has no support from their family, friends, or anyone. And then he has no special talents. Moreover, he lets Kage take advantage of him with a smile on his face. Now, talking about Kage. Kage is a character with a really sad story of his own. He is a sole survivor of his clan. People treat him terribly, so he just steals from people to survive, and that's when he meets Bojji. At first, he's content with having Bojji give him all his expensive clothing each time they meet. But then one day, Kage decides to follow him back to the palace. And that's when Kage sees how poorly Bojji is treated by the people and his stepmother despite him being a prince. And then, this heartbreaking scene happens. After this, Kage realizes that Bojji has been just holding himself back all the time while people criticized and made fun of him. And then he starts seeing himself in Bojji. Yet, Bojji was someone who had a dream and also someone who did not want to give up on that dream.
俺はこれからどんなことがあってもお前の味方になりたいんだ。
With this, Kage becomes one of the best supportive characters in the entirety of anime. Bojji wouldn't be what he is at the ending of Ranking of Kings if Kage hadn't been there for him. Now, Kage is not that really strong supportive character or a sidekick that comes with a lot of heavy emotional dialogues. I'm sure we all have that one underdog moment when we really wanted to do something, but then we don't have the courage or the confidence to do it. And then this friend of yours comes and would go like, get your ass up and start working. And that is a kind of support system that Kage is for Bojji. Someone to let him know that he can do it, and someone who would take a step forward before Bojji does so that he can show him the path towards the future that Bojji wishes. Now, talking about Bojji. I don't know of a more adorable kid than Bojji in the whole of anime. This guy literally made me cry and smile at the same time, and it's been a while I felt like cheering for someone as much as I did for him. The scene that made me hopelessly fall in love with him is the last scene in the first episode, where Daida, his younger brother, challenges a sword master, someone who is also Bojji's sword trainer, Domus. And when Thomas trades blows with Daida, he feels excited by the potential that Daida holds. He wishes that he could be the one who trains Daida. Seeing this, Bojji challenges Daida. In this amazing scene, you don't see Bojji suddenly overpowering Daida or bringing him to his knees or anything of that sort. All Bojji does is simply dodge all of the attacks, which irritates Daida. This is the moment we know that Bojji is not just a weak boy who can't speak or hear, but then he is someone with the power and means to fight for himself and make his dream come true. Though he is not acknowledged for his strength at this point, this scene remains very precious to those fans who do not pity Bojji but cheer him on for the rest of the anime. Yes, our boy Bojji doesn't need anybody's pity. But the best we can do for him is cheer him on and watch Kage being there for him throughout the roughest times. Now, finally, I believe that Ranking of Kings is the best anime of 2021 and one of the best anime that I have ever watched. And if you watch, I'm sure that you're going to love it. This anime deserves much better than just fading away with time. So now, if you're someone who is appreciative of a unique plot with a good setting, then all you need to get hooked into Ranking of Kings is the first 5 minutes of the first episode. And if you love underdog stories, just 12 minutes in and you will love this show. And if you want a not so typical underdog story with a main character you want to cheer on for, then first episode is enough to hook you in. So let me know in the comment section if you're planning to watch this anime, and if you've already watched it, what do you think about the anime?